class. It's good to be with you again, even if it is through YouTube and Facebook. We've got a really good Sunday school lesson for this week, and the title of it is A Disappearing Disciple. And I hope you're able to listen and follow through. Our lesson comes from the book of Acts, and it's in the New Testament. And we're going to start in verse 26. But before we get in Acts 8:26, we need to have a little background. So what had happened is, of course, Jesus has been on the cross and he rose and he ascended to heaven. We've talked about that. And the disciples were preaching and teaching. And one of the disciples, named Philip, was in Samaria. And he was preaching and teaching, and people were getting saved, and they were seeing miracles performed by Philip. And it's like they just were hungry for that teaching. And it says that there was much joy in that city. So things are going really, really good. Many people were getting baptized, but you know what happened? The Spirit of the Lord spoke to Philip. And that's where we start in Acts 8:26. And it says, "And the angel of the Lord spake unto Philip, saying, Arise and go toward the south unto the way that goeth down from Jerusalem unto Gaza, which is in the desert." So, why in the world would God want him to leave these people that are so happy and they're so eager to learn about Jesus? And it seemed like his work was really great there, but God had another plan. And I'm sure Philip kind of wondered, why did he have to go to the desert? But he was obedient. And let's see what happened next. And it said, "And he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia." Let's say that together. I kind of messed it up. Ethiopia was there, and he was of great authority to the queen of Ethiopia. He had charge of all of her treasures, and he had come to Jerusalem to worship. So he was on his way back. It says, was returning and sitting in his chariot, and he was reading Isaiah. So say Isaiah, and we know that that is prophet, and he's a prophet, and there's a book by Isaiah in the Old Testament. And the Spirit said to Philip, "Go near and join yourself to him." And so Philip ran toward him, and he was reading Isaiah. And Philip said, "Do you understand what you're reading?" And he said, "Well, how can I understand unless somebody explains to me or guides me?" And he asked Philip to come and sit in his chariot with him. And what this man from Ethiopia was reading was scripture from Isaiah, and it was from Isaiah 53. And it says it's where Jesus was led. Well, it says he was led as a sheep to the slaughter, which we know was Jesus. And like a lamb dumb before his shearer, so opened he not his mouth. Remember when they were saying all those things to Jesus, bad things, and asked him questions? He was just being very quiet. It says, in his humiliation, his judgment was taken away, and who shall declare his generation? For his life is taken from the earth. So he gave his life for us. And then the Ethiopian answered Philip and said, "Tell me," he said, "who is the prophet speaking about, himself or some other man?" So then Philip opened his mouth, and he began to talk to him about the same scripture, and he preached to him about Jesus. And it says, as they went on their way, they came into some water, and the Ethiopian said, "See, here is water. What doth hinder me to be baptized?" He says, "Why can't you just baptize me?" And Philip said, if you believe with all your heart, you can be baptized." And so the Ethiopian answered and said, "I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God." And so the Ethiopian man commanded that the chariot stop and stand still. And so he and Philip went down into this water, and Philip baptized him. And it says, and when they were come up out of the water, and I'm seeing them come up out of the water up on the bank, it says the Spirit of the Lord caught away Philip. And the Ethiopian saw him no more. He just disappeared. But the Ethiopian went on rejoicing. He was saved, and he knew he was going to heaven, and he had learned about Jesus. And it says, but Philip was found in Azotus, and passing through, he preached in all the cities till he came to Caesarea. Now, isn't that wonderful? Isn't that a neat story? Philip just disappeared, but he kept on doing what the Lord would have him to do. And you know what? It doesn't tell us this, but I think that Ethiopian went home and he started telling other people, and I believe that he won many to Christ also. You know what? That's what we need to do when you're with your friends. Talk to them about Jesus and see if they go to church, and if they know who Jesus is and what he did for us. And you can tell them what he's done for you and how wonderful he is, and how wonderful it'll be one day when we go to heaven. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I want you to remember that Philip obeyed just like we have to obey when God gives us something to do. He gives us a task, and I know that you're growing up and you're younger, but you know, when your parents tell you to do something, or when it's time to get schoolwork done, we've got to do that, and we've got to do our best. That's what Jesus expects. He did his very best for us, and he wants us to do our best. So I want to tell you, I hope that we'll get back in the sanctuary pretty soon, and maybe not too long, we'll be back in our Sunday school rooms. I miss you and love y'all. Until next time, keep reading and praying.